It's been 15 months almost since The Last Jedi came out. 15 months. Long 15 months, right? Like the kind of 15 months you look back on, you're like, God. And it's still a long way to go until we get to see episode 9, until we get to kind of finally wash the taste of Rian Johnson's The Last Jedi out of our mouth. I've been critical of the movie multiple times over the span of the last 15 months, and I've even tried so desperately to find a way to like it. Because I don't like the fact that I don't like a Star Wars movie. That bothers me. But you know what else bothered me? Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi. And Mark Hamill actually dropping some fire, dropping some truth over this. It says here that the new Star Wars films have chosen to forget the past, says Mark Hamill. Oh, is Luke about ready to spit some fire? To spill that tea? To come out and finally criticize the movie that we've all been rightfully criticizing for 15 months? Why now? That's a little weird, isn't it? Because he's done. He's already shot his stuff. He's already out. Not that he would badmouth the property. He loves it, obviously. But you could tell he didn't care for The Last Jedi. So it says here that Star Wars franchise is doing a pretty good job of forgetting its past, according to Mark Hamill. Prior to the release of the movie, he says that he disagreed with writer-director Rian Johnson's approach to Luke, saying here that the star said he was surprised at the speed which the devoted fans latched on to his initial negative comments. Speaking to Den of Geek, he says here that he was shocked that some of the changes Johnson had made to the established universe. Look, that's all we've been saying the entire time. We've been saying that the entire time, that there's been the problem there, that there's been the issue there, that's been the criticism, that this was not part of the established lore, not part of the established story canon. This is something wholly different. This is like Superman Returns area, it feels like, where they just went in an entirely different direction, and you're like, what? No, go back, come back, go that way. Don't know you want to zig when you should have zagged. What are you doing? You know, it's like that whole thing, right? That whole thing, right? That's where it's kind of at, but that's where the criticism has been from fans, especially those that are upset at the whole like Luke Skywalker thing. And Mark Hamill's like his own facial expression did not hide that. If you ever saw his expression coming off of the world premiere of The Last Jedi, when they all go on stage together, his expression is telling. It's not only telling, it's damning. It is absolutely damning about his impression of where that movie left him feeling at the end of that. You know, those disagreements came bubbling back up. You know, all the memories of having those conversations about this doesn't really feel like Luke. This feels like a dude named Jake. This is not what the fans would do. But then Mark is still the consummate professional. He's gonna sit there and he's gonna play the game because he understands that's how it is. But you know that the controversy surrounding Luke's death was so massive, so rampant, so insane that they brought him back for the next movie because they had to. Look, here's the thing. When Carrie Fisher passed 2 years ago, they were in the process of finishing up The Last Jedi. They had a long way to go. They should have cut that scene. They should have cut his death. And I would be hard pressed to not find an executive that at least had that conversation with Rian at some point. Like, do you think we should do this? Do you think this is a good idea? I would like to think that there was someone there who was somewhat a voice of reason, but then Rian Johnson was given carte blanche to do what he wanted, and Kathleen Kennedy was as hands off as humanly possible, leading to this utter disaster. That over 2 years later, from at least the moment of when Carrie Fisher died, things could have been salvaged. Right. And this is line here. He says here, they had me walking by Threepio and not even acknowledging. I said, I can't do that. And Rian Johnson said, okay, go over and do whatever. So I went over and did whatever. He did. He did. He didn't talk to 3PO. Right. Like he kissed Leia on the head. And then it felt like 3PO got the cold shoulder. It really did. I remember watching that scene in the theater, and I'm like, he winks at he winks at 3PO, right? But there wasn't the interaction there. Like, this is fucking 3PO, man. This ain't like this ain't like anything. This is 3PO. This is not like someone you met randomly on a coffee break. This isn't like Jan from accounting We're like, oh, hey, Jen, what's going on? How you doing? Long time to see. Kids good? Okay, they're good. It's great, great. I gotta go. Like, fake out my nephew for a bit. This is 3PO. Like that's the thing. That's what I did. That right there, I think ultimately showed you the disrespect for the character. Now that I think about it, now that I truly, really go back to that moment, this is 3PO. This is as significant as any other mainstay character. I could see him walking by Lando Calrissian and giving a wink and a nod. That would make sense, given their connection with the, Return of the Jedi and their interactions together. You could see that as being like a, hey man, how you doing? Like, we're acquaintances, we're not really friends. But 3PO, no. 40 years of adventures that he's been around on with Luke. His connection to the Skywalker family, although Luke obviously doesn't know that because of the memory up at the end of Revenge of the Sith, whatever. But still. More than that. Now that I think about it, I get a little bit more angry about it when I think about it. Right? And it goes on to say here that Hamill added he was upset that Skywalker's best friend, Han Solo, played by Harrison Ford, was killed off in previous movie Force Awakens before their emotional reunion was able to take place. He said, I just thought Luke's never going to see his best friend again. You took it in a self-centered way, or you look at it in a self-centered way. I said that it was a big mistake for those three people would never reunite in any way. I guess I was wrong because nobody seems to care. No, man. No. Everyone cared. Have you seen the fan art going around of the three of them together? Of Luke, Leia, and Han together? Like, no one did not want that. We all wanted that. I don't think you understand, Mark. Like, saying that no one cared that's not true at all. Maybe in your mind, because you had no power over those story decisions. You felt powerless in those moments. That would make some sense. I could understand that. But as a fan, I wanted nothing more than to see the three of you together. I wanted nothing more than the three of you to stare down Kylo Ren, the Sith, the First Order, or whomever, and unite once again to take on the forces of evil. What you've done time and time and time again. You've saved the galaxy multiple times. You are unstoppable as a trio. Sorry, not necessarily a trio. I cannot forget Chewbacca. He comes tied with Han. Don't invite me on that one. All right. But as a quartet, the four of you are, so to sit there and say that no one cared, that actually kind of bothers me a little bit, because I think people legitimately care. I legitimately care. I mean, granted, look, there are, no one expected Carrie Fisher to die. No one expected that at all. Harrison Ford said he wanted out, so that's why they did it. I get that. Fine. It would make sense to motivate Rey and to motivate Finn. I get that specific decision. But that's what the fans wanted. And there's a reason why when these movies get made like this, not just this one, but when you see things where it's like, we made it for the fans, because they want to come at it from a fan base perspective. And the thing is, Mark Hamill says that he feels a certain ownership of the character. And he's right. He's been the only person to portray Luke Skywalker on the big screen over 40 years. He's not messing around on that front. To be one of the most influential characters in pop culture history, playing the same role for 4 decades, as influential, iconic, and inspirational as Luke Skywalker is, 100% ownership over that character, I would say. I would absolutely say to that. But this, of course, is a corporate decision. But, like I said, he's a consummate professional, and he even says here that he just read the music and tried to play to the best of his ability. But now that he's done, now that that's over, now that that's now officially wrapped up and in the can, he can speak his mind. And I think what he's going to say when it finally comes out, when it comes out not just through an interview with Den of Geek or something, when it finally hits the nail on the head, when it finally sets in with all of those Last Jedi loving people out there, like, it's the best Star Wars. It subverted all expectations. Okay, you sound like a bunch of barking circus seals. How does it make you feel that the Luke Skywalker didn't really like the movie, didn't like the direction of the characters? How does that make you feel on the inside? You probably don't care because you're soulless bastards. You liked The Last Jedi. You clearly have no soul. And I say that strictly from people who are like, Canto Bight wasn't that bad. Reading this interview with him, and you can see that he very much is packed in his feelings over this. They've come out in certain ways, obviously acknowledging that there's been a fan backlash over this, obviously acknowledging that there's been a big pushback against this kind of stuff. I get it. Man, though, I'm just I hate the fact that that they screwed him, that they did him dirty. That they did him dirty. Hopefully we get positive, solid closure with Luke Skywalker. Hopefully we do. I think at this point they owe it to us. I think at this point Mark Hamill and J.J. Abrams probably really went over this, because I think J.J. Abrams also is not a fan of The Last Jedi. I think he also understands where the fans are coming from, and I think that's why ultimately they brought him in, and why I think they are doing it the way they're doing it, why I think they are very much trying to fix it, and why you're hearing stories now about George Lucas being brought back in, because they know, Disney knows there's billions on the line. And if they fuck this up, they will irreparably damage the Star Wars brand. More so than The Last Jedi already did. Your thoughts, write them below. Thumbs up, subscribe if you're new. I'll talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great day. Peace out. Hey, thank you so much for watching the video. I greatly appreciate it. While you're here, feel free to check out that subscribe button. You know, help the channel out. Or you can watch any of the newest videos and make sure that you're caught up to date with what's going on in Hollywood and entertainment. So that way, when you're at work tomorrow, you can wow your friends with the information you learned from watching these videos. That's right. I said it. Subscribe.